Shall we?
We shall.
Okay, so hi everybody and welcome to our recurring webinar on creating explainer videos. I'm Anastasia from Explain Everything and this is Bart. Hi Bart.
Hi Anastasia, how are you?
Great. So today the two of us are going to show you how to create explainer videos from scratch, and we're going to get into all of the details that you need to know to really get started creating some really cool content for your students. But before we start, I just wanted to go through a few housekeeping items for today. So first and foremost, yes, this is, as I mentioned, a recurring webinar, meaning that you should also check out our other recurring webinars. We do one every couple of weeks, right, on live casting and also on collaboration. So, of course, if you like what you see, definitely come back next time to check out the next one. And the last thing I'd like to mention is the Q&A session. That's going to be happening a little bit later on, and I'll invite you to ask your questions and we will be happy to answer them. So Bart, let's just get started by talking about you for a moment a little bit, because you do teach at university. So do you use videos like this in your teaching?
I do, and Explain Everything is so flexible that I use it mostly for presenting when I lecture, but videos are quite useful if you want to summarize material. Let's say send a short video before lesson takes place, or
so
summarize
like
it even
pre-training
after.
videos.
Exactly.
Sure.
And the way you can do it obviously varies. You can have like entire lecture recorded using Explain Everything. That's cool too. But what I like to do is to do those short recordings, And the good thing about it, and this is something we'll demonstrate today, is that when having those short recordings, you can improve them and release them again, let's say next year, having the same material, but just with a bit more polish, some improvements that you can add on later on to existing material.
So you mean like if the textbooks were to change a little bit within the year, then you could just come back and like recycle the same material?
Yeah. You might have a new idea how to approach some topics, so instead of re-recording everything, you can just improve.
Yeah, one of the issues that a lot of teachers mention is also how, stressed they are sometimes about making a mistake while they're recording a video. So we're going to get to that in your part of this video as well, right?
Oh, cool.
Yes, so we're going to talk about what to do if you made a mistake. Nobody panic, it can easily be amended. But let's start with the basics in that case. So the general outline for this webinar is I'm going to take the first part, as I kind of hinted at already. So I'm going to show you the basically the building blocks of an explainer video, and then in the second part Bart's going to take it up a notch and show how to review your recording. We're going to get a little bit into timeline editing, etc. So if that's all clear,
how exciting
it is. So if that's all clear, then I think we're good to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the explainer video right here in this project that we've prepared, so our viewers can see how we create things from scratch. I have, as you can see right here, this completely blank slide that I've prepared, if you can call it that, because it is a blank slide, that I wanted to use to show how to record explainer videos from scratch. So first I wanted to get to like the two different ways you could do this. You can use materials that you've prepared before, and that's what I'm going to do, but you could also like annotate and illustrate as you go along. Bart, which one of these two do you prefer?
I guess the one that you're about to show is that starting with existing material is the easiest one. It's a good starting point. Later on, if you feel that you comfortable with solution, you're not surprised by the way how UI works, you can think about using this blank canvas, as you now showing us, for storytelling, live, just-in-time storytelling.
Right.
And this is really exciting. Once you know how to do that, it really makes a difference when lecturing or when creating videos without much materials, really.
That's so much more personal too. I think that one of the things everybody likes most about being in the classroom is just seeing the teacher like doodle and scribble and stuff. So but because I'm not much of an artist, I'm going to show you the first one where where you add just media that you've prepared ahead of time. And before I get to that, I just wanted to mention one little tip here, and it is about how if you're recording your explainer video using like a pen or a stylus or an Apple Pencil, like I am right now, you might want to consider using headphones, just because if you continue to tap the screen, that sound could get a little bit, noisy for the people who are watching it later on. So that's just something that we like to mention. But let's start with creating our videos. So the first thing we're going to do is maybe let's change the topic, because every lesson has a topic. This one just says recording webinar. So maybe let's change that to something a little bit more realistic in a school setting. So we're going to do a little lesson about something that we like to call black hole math, based on a pretty cool book about black hole math. So notice I changed the lesson topic, and then I tap here one more time, and the lesson topic has now been changed. So with that out of the way, let's start by adding some materials. So I'm going to go to Add Media right here. Add Media is going to be your best friend. The Add Media icon is going to be your best friend no matter what you do and Explain Everything. And then we're just going to go to File. Notice all of the locations that you can store your files in, so wherever you prefer. The book that I'm looking for happens to be in my files folder right here on my iPad, so but whatever works for you. Here's the book that I mentioned, Black Hole Math, but as you probably notice, it's a little long, right?
It is, yeah.
126 pages would be a lot for one canvas. So I don't want all of these pages just crowding things up, and I don't need them for this specific lesson. So I'm just going to tap deselect all right here, and then choose the specific page that I want. In this case, it'll be page 13. And also, I'd just like to turn your attention real quick to the different ways that you could arrange your pages in Explain Everything. So yeah, I'm going to have mine on the current slide because it's just one.
Just one, yeah.
But if you give presentations, would you prefer to put it on separate slides? Do you think that makes more sense?
It depends. It depends on the style. Actually, I like to have them on one canvas and just zoom around. It's kind of like a prezi feel to it. But there are some that like to use still regular slides just to have this content organized that way.
Okay, sure. So I'm going to keep mine just because, as I said, I have one page. So I'll tap Insert and
you might want to do it again.
Should I?
Yeah.
Like deselect and select again?
Just cancel and start one more time.
Okay, sure.
It happened to me once. It might be.
It is, okay.
Yeah.
Sure, let's do that.
So black hole math.
Deselect all, exactly, 13, and here it is.
Yeah.
Right here on our canvas, it's right in the middle, but of course you can use the hand tool to shrink it and move it around wherever you prefer. And of course, double tap straightens it. What are you laughing about?
Of course, double tap. We know those things. These are the cool tips, that we like to share, because, there are some ways you can quickly organize your content, like with this double tap. That's one of many, of course, but it's super useful if you don't need to try to find the best alignment, just double tap and it will be straighten up.
It's so frustrating to try to figure out if it's straight or not. So yes, maybe.
But that's the benefit of, coming to our webinars, to learn those things.
Exactly, these little tips. So as I said, if I just double tap any element, that means that it automatically straightens, which is really practical and does save quite a bit of time. So here we have our page, and let's start our recording, and I'm going to show you how that works. So I'm just going to, if you take a look at the bottom of the screen, we have the record icon. Everyone recognizes the record icon. So I'm going to do a short recording and show you how this works. Should I unmute my microphone, do you think?
Because we're transmitting audio, I don't know how this will behave. So maybe for the purpose of demonstration, let's not use audio at all. But of course, when you'll be recording your video to share, please unmute first.
Yes, do unmute your microphones. As Bart mentioned, we're transmitting from this device, so that could get a little tricky. But if you're doing it, definitely unmute your microphone. So here goes in that case. Okay, class, so today I'm going to tell you a little bit about the nearest stellar black holes and their proximity to the Earth and to the Milky Way. And after we're done, I would like you to do all of the problems in this table right here, points A to G. Okay, and if I just pause my recording right now, the timeline automatically opens up, as you might notice. It's right down here at the bottom. And what you can see if I scroll to the beginning of my video is, yeah, you can see the audio track, which is at the bottom, which is blank because remember I didn't turn my microphone on, and also the visuals track, which is at the top. So every gesture that I made is visible here, right? So I was using the highlighter, for example, and you can see me using that right there at different moments. And yeah, that is the absolute basics. So say I have this short little video, I told my students what we're going to be doing, what I'd like them to do, and I have this short little instructional video, and now what I'd like to do is share this video with my students, right? So there are two ways of doing this, and the way that you do it really depends on you, on your preferences. I'll tell you what we think is better, but it's at the end, it's up to you. So let's go to share, the share icon at the top of the screen, and notice that we have two options here. The first one is create web video link. And what happens when we tap that option is that this video that we just recorded is rendered in our cloud. It's Explain Drive, right? Yeah. Okay, so it's rendered in our cloud. And yeah, it says here, link created. So that took just literally a couple of seconds. And then what we would do is we would tap share and select how we would like this to be shared with, I don't know, our students. Depending on integrations, we could use Google Classroom, or really, I don't know, what do you usually use in your work?
Microsoft Teams.
Microsoft Teams, okay.
But it can be Shelby, it can be any system that you're using to share those messages back and forth with students.
Definitely, or email even, right?
Communicator of any kind, yeah.
Any of those. And the people who get that from you will have this link that's been generated that you can see right here, and they'll be able to click it and view the video that you've just prepared for them. So I'm going to tap done. That was option one, but say you're not ready to share the video with anyone just yet. So what you would do is, once again, you would tap share, and then you would tap export. And what happens when you tap export is that the video is rendered on your device. So not in our cloud, like I mentioned a moment ago, but like, locally on your device. And Bart, what do you think is the better option? I think we have a favorite here at Explain Everything, right?
Yeah, so I usually use cloud recording, cloud sharing, because it offloads my device from, this burden of compressing the MP4 file. So it's just quick and easy. You tap, you get the link, you can share the link in no time, even if your lecture is long. So that's a big thing when you think of benefits. If you have a long lecture, your device might take some time to render it, but we use cloud servers. So when you're sharing it using this first option, what happens is that those servers are much faster than your device, and you just have the link, you can share it instantly, and even if it's not ready yet, your students will see the progress information. Okay, your new video is getting ready. Come back in a second. We have the record breaker in terms of like length of the recording. It's like 6 hours long lecture in math coming from teacher in Asia. So I don't do that long videos. Usually I create something that is like up to 10 minutes long, but it's up to you.
You said you like to use them to kind of summarize, right? The most important parts of your lecture.
Yeah.
Sure, but getting back to the ways that you can render your device, as I said, rendering it, here exporting it means you render it locally on your device. And let me just show you how that would work. Tap the option. I'm going to tap video because this was in fact a video right there. And then let's just say that I decide to save it to photos, my photos folder. Of course, the location is largely up to you. And here it is rendering on my device as we speak.
You can even see it, right?
Yes, you can even see it moving in the background. You can see the highlighting that I did, etc. So As Bart mentioned, that can slow your device down a little bit. So probably the cloud is better for, for most people, more practical. And yeah, here we are. Our video has now been saved to our photos folder and we are back in our project. But that's not all. So this is the part where I'm going to hand the baton to Bart, and he's going to show us the second part of how to record explainer videos and also how to deal with mistakes that you might have made. Are you ready?
I'm the mistake man. Okay.
You're the mistake man. You said it, not me.
No
Okay,
problem.
here you are.
No problem. Thank you.
Oh, also pencil, of course.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, and I mentioned that at the very beginning, that you can improve your project. So let's say that I'm a bit clumsy and I don't do things perfectly at first go. I'll just create a new project so you can see it. Here's my starting screen, so I'll do it again. I'll create a new project. And maybe I'll just use the same page as you use from the same document. I'll just bring it in here.
Sure.
Black hole map, that was a page number 13,
that's correct.
So I'll bring it to the canvas, and what I will do is I will press record in order to explain to my students, okay, what I want you to do is to do this exercise here, and I'll mark location of the first object here using I need a grid with coordinates.
Yeah,
so
that would
I had one
definitely come in
ready.
handy.
Okay, so this is something you can pull from, let's say, Google Images or any repository that you have. I had one ready in my clipboard. That's why it was so fast for me to bringing in.
Your custom clip art library, right? You added this yourself.
Exactly. So I have a lot of graphics that I can use when I present, and that's why it's just convenient to have them at hand.
Of course.
So this part, obviously, since we were explaining from where I got this graphic, this part we need to trim later on in the video. So this is like a good example how to do that, right? I'll try to unmute my microphone. I hope that that does not spoil your audio, as I'd like to see the audio wave in the timeline. So let me go ahead and then mark the location of the first celestial body here. So on this axis it's going to be somewhere here, on this axis somewhere here. So let's say that's the location of Cygnus X1. And I'll press stop. And as you see, as before, we have this timeline, right? You can tell what I was drawing. Here I was using black pen.
All the moments you touch the canvas with different tools, everything is visible here.
Yeah, exactly.
So the highlighter, the pen, etc., the hand tool.
Let's find a moment where I actually added this object here, this grid here. It should be, I'll just go back. I moved this grid around this moment. So I use the hand tool and you can see the location of those. You can see the icons marking the location, what is what on the timeline.
Right.
So here it was moved again and again. I moved it a lot. It was added just here. You see, here's an icon on.
That's the add media icon.
That's the add media icon just here, marking the location of me adding the grid, right? So perhaps I want to improve this video now and remove all the unnecessary moves that I performed when explaining. Yes, this is not needed in the final video. So before I remove that, let me show you how I expand and contract the view on the manipulations on the timeline. I use two fingers, and I can get them closer by this, having like a wider view on the manipulations on the canvas, or use this movement, just taking my fingers away in order to zoom in. I can even show you what I'm doing on a canvas if I turn this trigger on, display on-screen taps and gestures. If you're explain everything to someone, you can use this option here on iOS to have, you see those circles now on the top of my screen.
That is so much more visible.
These are the taps that I'm doing. So now when I grab with 2 fingers, this timeline, you can actually see what I'm doing with my fingers, right?
Right.
So back to removing unnecessary dance or this practice that we did here, right? I want to remove this section from here, and that's the cue line that shows you the location where you are in the video, right? So I want to remove from here to, let's say, to the moment when I was explaining verbally what's the task at hand. So what I need to do is to use this tool. That's the tool that allows you to select objects on your canvas and scroll to select the segment of your recording.
So we're just kind of like deleting, we could say like extra fluff, just, empty, like dead air or what have you.
Yeah. Any manipulations I did in between those 2 points will be removed.
Okay.
So I'm going to use this delete and compact button that is here. And it happened quickly, but you see, that's the moment when I added this grid. And that's the moment when it started to be positioned in this final destination, and then I was talking something with microphone unmuted. So as you see, I can repeat that, removing this empty space here. So I'll go slowly here, selection, then I scroll to the right, and then I use delete and compact right here. Okay, and as you see, now I marked this location of this first body in the table, and then immediately this grid appeared.
This is just good for so many reasons. First, because it makes your video shorter, right? So, that really cuts it down, helps the students probably concentrate, it's probably good for that. Also, I think it just it makes it so much more like to the point, we could say, and they don't have to see the 30 seconds it took you to find the picture. They just need to find out like the point. What was the point of that? So yeah, that could be great for a lot of reasons, I think.
But also from perspective of instructor, this is important because you don't have to worry that you need to have all of those moves synchronized, everything ready. It creates tension.
Exactly. That's what we mentioned before. Like, so many teachers are stressed that they won't get it right on the first try, and that's the beauty of it. You don't have to. You open up your timeline, you cut out 2 minutes of dead air if you had that much, and that's fine, right? Great, thanks.
So that's one thing. The other thing is that you can add elements. I just removed empty space, but I can actually, by seeing, okay, my microphone was muted here when I was explaining the task, right? Why not having just my voice, right, in this empty space? Of course, I was muted because we thought it will not transmit well, but since it's working fine, let me just add an explanation. And I see that I have like 20 seconds of empty space that I can use for my verbal explanation. And most probably we will remove this part here as well, right? So it gives me like 13 seconds. Okay, so I'll just press record, and without touching the screen at any time, I will not add any manipulations. All I'm going to do is I'm going to speak about the task at hand.
Okay.
And you'll notice that when I'll press record, it will also play back all the things I did. Like here, I was marking with red color the description, and then I was marking with blue color the location of the first object. So this gives me like a hint, what should I verbally speak about, right? So let me try. Okay, so here's the task that I want you to do. Mark the location of those celestial bodies. I'll show you how to do it on example, the first one. Stop. Right? So that was 10 seconds of the recording where I explain the task. The task.
You know, I can't see your timeline now for some reason.
There's a bit of delay I see. No, sorry, that's me.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, there it is. That's not a delay. So, again, this is 10 seconds, right? Me marking this task marking the location of the first object, and then rest of the video follows. There's one additional cool trick that I want to show you is that it's not only empty space you can delete, but also if you decide, this A, marking the location of this first object is a bit clumsy, I can do better, right?
Okay.
How to do that? How to improve upon what you did so far? Well, obviously, you can delete those hand strokes like this one here. That's the circle. It's not a perfect circle, and it should be in yellow, let's say. So what I'm going to do is to press and hold this pen stroke, and I'll press delete, and as you see, it disappeared now.
Oh, okay.
Right? So what I can do is I can re-record this section and do the circle again, but this time using yellow color, and I'll try to be more precise.
So would you mute your microphone for this?
That's the trick, yeah. So I'll mute my microphone because the audio recording is done. I don't want to fiddle with that. I want to leave it as it is. But instead, I'm going to prepare my yellow pen. Maybe I'll use pencil this time.
Okay.
That's going to be cool. Okay. I'll press record and I'll just do this. I don't know if it's
Is that
any
better?
but it's different.
I like yellow though, so that's
yeah,
good.
but
That's
it's different. So now if I scroll back, you can tell that I marked this location.
And that other stroke is just gone as if it had never happened.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Perfect.
So that's what you'll see in the final video. A clip done in few takes, right? With new ending and new beginning. Or perhaps I should remove this section here as well, but you get the picture, what you can do with Explain Everything. Just you can take it step by step and without rushing create video that you're satisfied with.
Cool. I think that basically just the fact that the audio and the video tracks are split up just gives you so much flexibility, because if you like what you said but you don't like what you drew for whatever reason, that's fine. You can keep the audio and just do the the visual elements. So, or vice versa, of course. So yeah, super practical.
One, if I may, there's one important hint that we can give you, because video content is these days needs to be dynamic, right? And there is a very simple way of turning what we already created into something much more dynamic, that where the focus of your audience is the attention. You can steer this attention toward a specific part of what you have on a canvas. Let's maybe demonstrate how to do that.
Let's do it.
So as you see, in terms of camera, this canvas is fixed in space. Nothing moves. I'm just adding object and marking location. But let's say when I explain this task, I want to zoom in to this part here, right? To the description. It will be visible. It will be better visible. But then again, I'll also have the certainty that audience looks exactly at this part of the
to
page.
Really direct your students' attention.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do in order to achieve that, I'm going to press record again, and I'll use the zoom tool. Zoom tool is located here, right?
Right.
And I'll use it just to reposition my camera like this. I'm not recording now, so if I move my timeline, you'll see what is on the video, so there is no movement. But if I press recording again and zoom in, when I mark this area, and now move here, and then I move out. Cool. Now you'll see the final result that contains all the activity on the canvas that I recorded previously, together with my dynamic movement of the camera. So let me play it back to you. You see, I'm marking here, but also zooming.
I actually didn't know that you could do that like in two separate takes. I thought you had to do it at the same time. That's even more flexibility than I thought.
So you can think of stacking up all of those manipulations that you need. So here it's actually funny because I'm marking and zooming in, so it shows you that it's not something you could do in one take.
Yeah, you couldn't because you don't have that many fingers, right? Or that good coordination, I guess.
But here you can, and it's just cool effect.
That is a cool effect. I actually have to try that myself. I didn't know that, that you could do both of those things, like, put them on the same track. So that is pretty awesome.
And it's super easy. In fact, if you know that you can stack those things up, well, the problem here for many is that they think of recording as being something destructive, right? While the default mode of Explain Everything recording is non-destructive. It allows you to add as many things as you need, and those might be like hundreds. I don't believe no one would want that, but I just added 3 elements: audio, separate highlighting, and separate zooming in, right? 3 elements, but you can, of course, add more. If you'd like to turn Explain Everything recording into this destructive mode, the way we think about recording, you can do that by changing the mode just here. So we support 3 recording modes, we call them. Default one is mix. So everything you record on top of existing recording will be mixed with existing recording.
So like you showed, like the zoom and the highlighting, and that was all mixed together.
That's
that makes
why
sense.
You don't need to stress. If you record on top of recording, you won't remove what you recorded before.
Right.
But if you really want to do that, let's say from the middle point of my recording, the rest is to be removed and redone, I can, of course, position myself just before the segment that I want to overwrite and turn the overwrite mode. And by this, once I press record, it will show me this warning. Okay, do you really want to overwrite existing content?
Because once you overwrite something, it's like gone forever. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just explaining that this option, of course, is available for you, that you can overwrite existing content, but you can also expand the video. Let's say.
Yeah, I was just going to say, what if like the instructions I gave my students were somehow incomplete and I wanted to add something onto that? How would I do that?
So let's say I want to add a Wikipedia article about the solar system right in the middle of this recording, just to expand this first part before I do the exemplary solution. So I can turn on this insert mode. I'll press record, and at this moment of time, I can add the web browser, Wikipedia. I can go to Wikipedia and show the article about solar system, just to explain some additional concept, right? Then I'll remove this Wikipedia, and you know what happened later. I explained the position of this celestial body, right? So if we now look at the entire recording, it looks like this. The first section, where I explain the task at hand, then Wikipedia article, and then this later section where I explain how to mark the position of this celestial body.
Cool. So that became a kind of seemingly complex recording in a very short period of time without any, like, you didn't have to do anything fancy. It was all just kind of like the basic tap here, tap there, and yet you can create something complex in such a short period of time. No, that's great. I love it.
Cool.
So is that all?
I guess that's a lot already. You can try to discover by yourself the other options that we included in this timeline, because you see there are icons on top of the timeline just here, right? And they allow you to smooth the movement of objects or speed them up. You know, you can just delete without compacting the space. There are many options, but I guess what we've showed you today, this is like, basic, that allows you to use the full potential of Explain Everything when doing explainer videos, and most importantly, just have the peace of mind when doing that.
Yes, I think the peace of mind is, one of the most important things that teachers are dealing with. So thank you so much. I see that you refuse to just be the mistake guy, and you went above and beyond. So thank you so much.
I tried to be. Thanks.
Yes. So that's basically all we have for you today. I hope this was enlightening. I hope that it, showed you some cool things that maybe you didn't know about before. As I said before, this is a recurring webinar, so we have other recurring webinars. If you get on our website, you'll be able to find out when those are and sign up for them as well. In just a moment, we are going to have our Q&A session. So anything that was on your mind during our explanations here, during our demonstrations, this is your time to ask those questions. And yeah, I think we're pretty much done here, right, Bart?
Yeah, there are some questions coming in, so let us answer those.
Oh, right. Okay.
Okay, I'll just create a blank page that we'll use for Q&A. All right, the question is about the website address for, I guess, webinars.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, probably.
So let me show you on explaineverything.com page. What you need to do is to scroll to the bottom of the page and go to webinars just here.
Exactly, and that's where you'll find out about our recurring webinars and also our expert webinars that we host every couple of weeks. And every time we do that, we have a different guest talking about their specific experience with Explain Everything. So those are also really cool. You get to see different perspectives, different solutions, different approaches. So definitely recommend those as well.
Here you have example of what you can discover when joining us for subsequent webinars. So these are 3 sections that we have of webinars about explainer videos like this one. And of course, Joanne, if you missed the show, don't worry. If you register it, we'll send you the link to the entire recording of the session, so no worries. But we also have a separate training session for collaboration where we show how to join on the canvas of Explain Everything Whiteboard and work together, right?
Yes.
And there's a webinar about how to present with Explain Everything, either in classroom or remotely. So this one is really cool too.
Yes, or in the hybrid model, because every school has got a different solution these days. So yeah, definitely join those if you want to find out about the 3 most popular, as we call them, Explain Everything use cases. And there's one other question here. Anne is asking, delete and compact, which icon is that?
Oh, sure. So delete compact. So I'll do a short recording here. Microphone is in use. That's very good.
Indeed it is.
I have recording here. All right, delete and compact. That's the icon just here. It's unavailable now because nothing is selected on the canvas. So let's say that I want to remove this section where I was highlighting this first body, so I would need to press this button first to select, and then when anything is selected, you can see that this button starts to be available. That's delete and compact.
Great, thanks, Bart. I actually used to call it the little square because I wasn't sure what it was called, but it is select and then delete and compact, so yes. Yes, so thank you everyone who joined us, and we hope that we were able to answer your questions, to explain everything. It's our corny little joke, and we love it. We'll see you at the next one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hope to see you soon next time.
Yes. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.